Hi Roses, my name is Tianna and welcome to today's reading on the upcoming month of March for air signs. That is if you have a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, sun, moon, or rising sign. If you do not but still feel called to this reading, feel free to stick around. If you enjoy this reading, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And for more tarot content, you can find my Twitter at Tianna Rose Tarot, or use the link in the description box to book a personal reading with me. I hope to see you there. First of all, we have the card, It Is What It Is, and then we have the card Time Machine. These are associated with the numbers 6 or 3, which may be significant to you either as dates or angel numbers. And then we seem to have very similar imagery here, both of these cards having a bit of a path or walkway leading up to this either door or in this case a clock. But to me, I see both of these almost as vaults or portals, things that you can kind of feel that magical energy here. And they're both kind of, there's a circle here and this is a circle as well. That reminds me of the Wheel of Fortune. And so these cards are both really representing kind of fate as well as this natural journeys of life, possibilities as well. The card It Is What It Is talks about radical acceptance for what life is in the present. This can be a very difficult concept to kind of comprehend because many of us either really look to the past or really look to the future. We struggle to be in the present. We struggle to be content with what we have because we want something that was either in the past or something that we're hoping to bring into the future. We're struggling to accept the way that things are right now and recognize that that doesn't mean that they're never going to change. It just means accepting that we have no control over our current situations beyond our own actions, our own feelings, that the things that are happening around us are simply just energies in space. And so this card is not about giving up on what you want for the future. It is not about completely leaving the past behind, but it is about being in this present moment, which is why it is very interesting to have this card Time Machine. At first glance, this might seem like something where we can kind of go into the past or future, so that kind of seems to go against this It Is What It Is kind of present mentality. But this card is really about learning from the past. This card is about understanding how we got to where we are. We can still look to those things for lessons, for guidance, not just our own pasts, but from our lineages, our ancestries. There is generational wisdom there. And so even though we may not be able to turn back the time or step into another kind of period of time completely like that, because this is the time now and this is what we are meant to be doing at this point in our lives, we can still learn from those experiences. And so as you guys go into the month of March, I see this idea of time really being significant as something that you explore. What does time mean to you? What do these different parts of your life represent? Are you living too much in any one period? Are you kind of preventing yourself from moving forward because you're holding on so much to something from the past? Are you repeating the same things that you may have already learned from doing the same kind of experiences already? So explore how any of those may be showing up for you and recognize that there are always things to learn, but we also need to keep moving forward to these new portals, to these new opportunities, and we don't actually have to keep ourselves moving that way, that time is going to come through us. And so we get to just be and allow those things to happen. So that is kind of something to wrestle with, is that conflict between, do we have free will, full autonomy? Are these things predestined? How much does that Wheel of Fortune energy really play here? And that is not something I necessarily have an answer for. It's something that you can kind of think about for yourself in this month, and how time plays a role in your life. What areas have you been feeling like you've maybe been running out of time, or putting unnecessary pressures on yourself to be at a certain place, and letting yourself just be in this moment. Let's pull some tarot cards to see what is coming out this month. We have the World. So again, this card is directly about cycles, beginnings and endings, cyclical nature. And really coming to peace with things the way that they are, which is what this card is about above here. We have the Five of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles. And the Eight of Cups. So these three cards, again, are showing up with different kind of representations about how time might be showing up for us. The Five of Pentacles can represent not having what we want yet, feeling like we simply don't have the resources to get where we're trying to be struggling with our present situations, which many of us are going through really difficult things that simply feel out of our control. And the message here is that while there are things that we may not have control over, we can still impact our attitudes towards them. We have still the ability to both come to peace and radical acceptance with what things are in the present, and use these as learning opportunities, reflection opportunities. The Seven of Pentacles also refers to kind of looking back, seeing all of the fruits of your labor. And so again, this can kind of represent that time energy. It is good to look back on the past and see how far you've come, but make sure that you're not getting stuck in that, or make sure that you're not only doing things just so that you can look back and say, oh, I did this, I'm happy that I did this. So again, finding that balance, because you also don't want to be stuck feeling like, oh, I really had all of these regrets from my past. This month is about letting go of those regrets, and so making intentional choices towards what is going to feel really fulfilling to you, what things are going to be important to you to do, but also realizing that you never have all of the necessary things to make a perfect decision, that's not what life is about. It's making the best choices with what you have. And then the Eight of Cups represents feeling the need to leave behind something that may have been really important to you, or you may have put a lot of energy into, but is no longer in alignment. And so there are strong concepts here of reflecting on the past, looking towards the future, but also recognizing that you are in the here and now, that life is all about cycles, endings, and rebirths, and that there will always be new opportunities. There are always going to be things moving, and you get to just sit here in peace. I have one card in a different deck of the World where she is sitting on top of the worlds in a peaceful state, recognizing that it is okay, it is allowed, it is encouraged to just be, to come to peace with what is. Again, not letting yourself get trapped in a specific period of time or a specific thought process, And also, it is not necessarily about saying, oh, I don't get to grow anymore. You are still going to grow. You are always going through this energy movement. But you don't have to force that in any one direction. Let's pull a few more cards. We have the card addiction. So for some of you, you may be feeling really addicted, quote unquote, to kind of this nostalgia from the past, or you might use future projection as a coping mechanism as well. There may be periods of time where you really kind of get into this obsessive state. That is a strong word to use, so don't take that if it doesn't resonate. But feeling like you're spending a lot of your time or energy ruminating on certain things, thinking about how you could have done something differently. And that is something that is blocking you. You're kind of dragging your heart around here and not allowing yourself the true time to heal, because if we focus on those things so intensely, or we shame ourselves for something we've done in the past, or we say, I'm only going to be happy if I get XYZ, we are actually making our lives harder for ourselves. And so think about any situations where that might be taking place in your life, where those things might be blocking you. Then we have the card not enough. So again, these feelings of insecurities, frustration about wishing that you were in a different place, a different type of situation. Those things are blocking you from recognizing all of the possibilities, all of the abundance that you are in right now. Even if those things might be really, really small, noticing where there are good things in your life right now and coming into peace with the fact that life does have ups and downs. Recognizing that you are enough just as you are in the present moment, that you can't be anything else. This mirror card for some of you can refer to your self-esteem, the way you feel towards yourself, whether that is shaming yourself or these different insecurities, feeling like you need to be in a different place, telling yourself all of those rules or those shoulds that really are just constraints that are getting in the way of this abundance. This card also refers to reflection and introspection. So there is some level of that which is really healthy and important, of looking back, learning from the past, as I mentioned at the beginning. But when we get trapped in that, when we feel like we're just stuck in this loop, that's when things can turn into sometimes an addiction for us, and we have a hard time then getting back out of that. Exactly, as I was saying, the card cassette, talking about outdated thinking, replaying things in your head, ruminating on these concepts. If you are seeing any of that as a pattern that you tend to come into, or seeing that in this month of March, this is really a time to notice that. Just sit with it. You don't necessarily have to make a change to that yet. These are really deeply ingrained patterns that are difficult to break out of, because they can feel so addicting, because they can soothe these parts of ourselves that feel like we're not enough. But what's actually happening is we're making things harder for ourselves by continuously shaming ourselves or being really hard on ourselves when we've only been able to do the best that we can with the information we were given. So as you start to notice those things coming up in this month, allow yourself to pause, allow yourself to reflect on those things. Maybe come back to this reading and reminding yourself that you are a part of a cycle, that this is not necessarily a linear journey, that this is not something where you need to compare yourself to anybody else, and that all you can really control is what you are doing right here, right now. So do you want to spend all of your time worrying about the future or wishing you had done or said something differently in the past? Those are not things that you have control over. So think about that for this month and areas where you really want to start showing up for yourself in a different way. Recognize the situations that you might need to leave behind. Recognize that there might be some structural barriers to the things that you want, but that there are also so many things that you do have to be grateful for. Going out and noticing, paying attention to the smaller things, allowing yourself to just be, and trusting that you will be able to look back on the past and learn from it, that you will be able to be proud of yourself because you enjoyed the present moment. So I know this was a bit of a heavier reading, but I do think that is really important for you guys to think about in this month. I hope that this could be helpful for you, and I hope you guys have a great month of March. Thank you, air signs.